Let us find the origin of the cosmic egg, a motif found in cultures of Asia. Hindus know that the universe is conceived as an egg called Brahmanda. They also know of a creation story where the creator of the universe hatched from a cosmic egg. Let us see which cultures and which migration patterns influenced the origin of this motif in Hinduism. Now, the earliest Puranic reference to a cosmic egg is in the Matsya Purana, amongst others. This text is dated to the early Gupta period. Let's explore this story further. Prior to the creation of the universe, there was an expanse of waters. Svayambhu, or Narayana, Vishnu, wanted to create the universe. To do that, he produced a golden egg. He entered that golden egg, and the golden egg expanded. And within that golden egg, the earth, sky, heavens, waters, and all of the universe that we know was created. Now, this motif goes back to the Vedic period, but not too much back, because in the Rig Veda, we see that there is no concept of a egg, rather we have an embryo. Rig Veda 10.82.5 to 6 has this: Paro diva para ena prithvya paro devebhir asurair yad asti kam svidgarbham prathamam dhadra apo yatra devaha samapashyanta vishve tamidgarbham prathamam dadra apo yatra devaha samagacchanta vishve अजस्य नाभावाद्येकम् अर्पितं यस्मिन् विश्वानि भुवनानि तस्थुः. So we have the first embryo in the water, the primordial waters. In a different hymn, 10.121.1, we see the phrase Hiranyagarbha for the first time. Hiranyagarbha samavartagre bhutasya jataha patirekasit सा धधारा पृथ्वीं द्यामुते मां कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम. But in the later Vedic texts, namely the Shatapatha Brahmana, the golden egg motif is found for the first time. Let's look at Shatapatha Brahmana 11.6.1.
In the beginning there were waters, and the waters want to create. So they created a golden egg from their heat.
Then he broke open the egg, and from it he wanted to create the universe within there. He uttered Bhu Bhuva Svaha, and from that the earth, air, and heaven was created respectively.
What this means is that the early Indo-Europeans in India did not have the conception of a golden egg. Now, let's look at the cultures of Europe to verify this claim.
Let's look at Estonian. Though it's an Uralic language, due to its proximity to the Indo-European cultures, let us see if the motif can be considered Indo-European. Here, we have a swallow the sunbird that built a nest, and the swallow laid 3 eggs. One became dawn to the netherworld, the next the sun to the upper world, and then the moon into the sky.
Let's look at the Lithuanian version. There was a duck egg that broke into multiple pieces. There was the yolk, the egg white, and the shell. The yolk became the earth, the egg white became the waters, and the shell became the heavens.
The Balto-Finnic versions have independent origins. Now, we can't say this cosmic egg motif here is an Indo-European motif because they didn't have one. And that's because if you look at the reconstruction of the Proto-Indo-European creation story, you can see the lack of a cosmic egg motif. We'll get into that later. Now, this cosmic egg motif found in the Estonian poem is not of Proto-Uralic, because we don't find it in other branches. Second, the Balto-Finnic story that we see is not related to the stories we find in South and East Asia, because the eggs don't hatch into progenitors, but the eggs become various cosmological bodies. To find the origin of this Balto-Finnic story, we need to go back in time to the early Bronze Age. In Karelia, in Russia, So on these caves, we see a depiction of birds. Now, if you look at the image to the right, one of the birds is laying an egg, and that is supposed to be the world egg. So what this shows is that the Balto-Finnic version of the myth is of local origin, predating the Uralic people and the Indo-European people.
The only tradition of the cosmic egg in ancient Greece is that of the Orphic traditions, but it seems like this is an exception. In the Hesiod's Theogony, the oldest Greek cosmology text, there is no mention of the cosmic egg. Neither do we have one in Zoroastrian besides a mere analogy comparing the top of the heaven to the top eggshell and the earth to the bottom eggshell. Of course, this is only found in a late Avestan text, and the Avestan itself is younger than the Rig Veda. The Orphic Greeks must have gotten their cosmological tradition from the Indians via the Persian Empire, though this is speculation. Needless to say, it would be speculation to say that the Zoroastrians got their egg analogy from the Indians as well.
So what is the Indo-European creation myth? Scholar Krakenford has mentioned the creation story of the Indo-Europeans on his channel. I'll give you a brief rundown. Long before time, there was two people, Manu and Yemo, and a primordial cow floating amidst the expanse of waters. Manu kills Yemo, and from his body that he cut up, the sun, moon, and the earth were created. And from the primordial cow, all the animals that we see were created. Notice that there is no cosmic egg in this Proto-Indo-European creation story. So where did this cosmic egg motif come and replace the golden embryo motif of this early Indo-European Vedic people? Surprisingly, the answer to this riddle is not to the west or the north, but to the east. Now, we are going to look for our answers in the tribal mythology of eastern India. Let's start with the Santals. I've already covered this in a different video, you can check it out. So, after Thakurjiu creates the universe, he wanted to create man, but when he first created man, Singh Sadom, a demon horse, ate them up, so he went on to create ducks. Now the ducks could only float in water, and wanting rest, they could only do so on the palm of Thakurjiu. So the ducks settled on their earth that was created, and they laid eggs. And when the eggs hatched, they hatched into the ancestors of mankind.
The creation story is found among the Ahom people. The Ahom people are actually related to the Thai people, then to the Austroasiatic people. Speaking of which, let's see Vietnam.
Now, the Muang people of the Vietnam, also Austroasiatic, just like the Santals, have a creation story where the winds lifted the sky and earth. And after the separation of heaven and earth, there was a fig tree called Chai Si. From that Chai Si fig tree, two progenitor birds were created, Chimay and Chaiwa. Chimay and Chaiwa laid eggs, and all but the last ones hatched into the various animals. Now, the last eggs of those progenitor birds came two brothers and a sister who would be the ancestor of mankind. The Khmu people of Laos have a similar story. After hiding in a log to escape a flood, a brother and sister emerge. Now these two siblings commit incest, and the wife sister becomes pregnant for 7 years and 7 months. The wife gives birth to a gourd. The brother husband wanted to smash the gourd, but the sister wife intervened and placed it above the smoking rack over the cooking fire. However, the couple heard laughter in the gourd, and the man put his ear and realized that's where the noise was coming from. So the man took the gourd and cut it with a knife. However, he was stopped by his wife and instead burnt a stick to poke a hole, and from that gourd, various races came out, like the Khmu, Lao, Thai, and Lue people. So we do have a flood-like motif in the Muang tale, but the flood actually comes after the creation of mankind. However, instead of man and woman coming from eggs, they come from a gourd. This means that the gourd is actually the cosmic egg motif, but altered. In the Thai version, Thai is actually not Austroasiatic, by the way, but since the proximity, we can consider this in our video. Daen, a creator, brought a giant gourd down to the earth and used the heated iron to poke a hole in the gourd. In one version I found, the gourd hatched into various ethnicities. In another version, 5 people came from the gourds, brothers and sisters, and Taen told these humans how to live, and then they gave tools to aid them. Now, this gourd is actually the cosmic egg. Now, the Bataka of the northern Sumatra region believed that in times of yore, there was Devata Mulajadi na Bolon. He had an iron-beaked chicken, and the chicken laid eggs that would hatch into various gods, one of which birthed mankind. In the Philippines, the Mandaya people believed that limokun birds laid 2 eggs, one hatched into a boy and another into a girl. In another version, the first hatched into a woman and the second into a snake that blew up, and from that carcass came man. Now, actually, the Filipino and the Batak people borrowed their myths from the neighboring areas. The Filipinos and the Bataks are actually Austronesian.
Except for Polynesians, the Austronesians kind of lack the cosmic egg motif. In some Polynesian myths, the world is some sort of egg or gourd or shelled object. Of course, not all Polynesian creation stories have the cosmic egg motif.
And the Polynesians originated in what is now Taiwan. Here is a map of the locations of the cosmic egg motifs. Purple is that of the Austroasiatic family, red is that of the Kradai family, and blue is that of the Polynesian family, and I colored Taiwan blue as that's where the Polynesians originated from. Now, the 3 circles represent the homeland of these language families that I mentioned. The red circle represents roughly where the Kradai families originated from. The lavender circle represents where the Austroasiatic language family originated, and the blue area represents where the Polynesian language family originated from. Notice that both roughly originated from Southeast China.
So it's possible that the myths involving the use of an egg originated in Southeast China, and that's where it spread from.
Now we can actually date when this cosmic egg motif reached India for the Vedic people to pick up. So we know that because it's found in Polynesia, this myth has to be older than 1500 BC, which is when the Polynesians started to disperse. Also, the Kradai languages, which is what Thai language is in, dates only to the 1200 BCE. So likely this cosmic egg motif originated amongst the Austroasiatic people, and this language family split up more than 4500 years ago. And this, when accounting for the rice domestication, makes this myth old as 2500 BC. So that's the map explaining the expansion of the Austroasiatic Kradai and the Polynesian language families and the development of the Vedic culture. It is where the Vedic culture met the Austroasiatic culture that the Hiranyagarbha became the Hiranyanda, the golden egg.
This makes sense because in the Austroasiatic lore, the eggs hatch into progenitors of mankind, and in Vedic lore, Prajapati, who hatched from the golden egg, is a progenitor figure. And Prajapati is the prototype for Brahma, the progenitor of the universe. Due to the philosophical developments in India, the cosmic egg that hatched Brahma became the universe. Later Hinduism, Prajapati not only became Brahma, but also a figure called Daksha Prajapati, father of all creatures on earth. Prajapati is called Svayambhu or Purusha, identified with Vishnu, and thus the role of the cosmic egg developed further. And by the way, Svayambhu is also a name of Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, and Manu is the progenitor of mankind. Interesting connection.
So let's re-summarize. Prajapati is known as Purusha, meaning man. So the fact that the progenitor of the Vedic people hatched from an egg, like the progenitor of the Austroasiatic cultures, suggests some sort of contact. However, man and god are interchanged in the Southeast Asian and Central Indian tribal lore. After all, in these early cultures, dead people become gods. What must have happened was the Vedic people, after a long period of contact with the Austroasiatic tribals, adopted some of their mythology, including that of a cosmic egg, giving it a Vedic overtone. In conclusion, a myth originating in southern China, beatificated, and spread all around Southeast Asia and even into India, where the Vedic people borrowed it. And that led to the Brahmanda model of Hindu cosmology that we have today.